Blue Beetle box office did not go as expected. Folks out there who study this sort of thing thought the film would get somewhere between $29 and $32 million when it came to the domestic side of the box office, and they thought surely Mexico and Brazil at least would give this thing a lift internationally. None of that occurred. DC's latest superhero film, which is very Latino-centric, has, well, bombed badly. It is splattering all over the windshield of Hollywood, and nobody likes that very much. Now it's time for the blame game. So who's getting blamed for Blue Beetle? Well, it might surprise you, and it might actually make you a little mad. Folks, welcome back to another video of excellence here on the WDW Pro channel. Each and every day, that's what we are aiming for with you. An attitude of gratitude that you have joined us, and we'll dive straight in. It's a 3-video day for us, which is a little bit rare. That is when we do these unique individual videos with brand new topics. Well, this one stirred me. I had to get on it. I had to discuss it with all of you, and so let's get at it. This, starting off with MSNBC, Blue Beetle is the superhero movie that Latinos have been waiting for. And I want you to watch the way the narrative is being drummed up, has been drummed up, making this be a film that is all about the Latino or Hispanic community out there and setting them up for the fail. This, I think, is problematic. I don't like it at all. But here's the article out of MSNBC. Latinos account for 30% of all moviegoers and 27% of all streaming audiences. Producing more authentically representative stories would be excellent for Hollywood's bottom line. Now, why does this article bother me? Because this article came out as this movie was bombing. And so what does that mean? Well, when you give this sort of a thesis, you set up this group of people to be blamed for the unsuccess, the failure of a film, which is failing of its own accord. Now, it's not that Blue Beetle is bad necessarily. I don't think it is. We reviewed this film here on the channel. It received a 2.5 out of 5 or a 5 out of 10. However you want to say, it's right in the middle. It's average. It's nice to go for air conditioning. If you have kids, they can eat popcorn. It's not a great flick. It's not perhaps even a good flick. It is a serviceable superhero film. And if you're tired of superheroes, you probably won't want to go see it. But if you need something to do to turn your brain off for a little bit, it is fine. It is like a hand-me-down Spider-Man, Batman combination. It's okay. But it's not bad. It's not terrible. But these people are setting this up to be a bad and terrible film because they're setting it up to be a film where an entire community takes the blame for something that this is just not. It's not the martyrdom that they need to be handed. So let's get into it. This by Julio Ricardo Varela, MSNBC columnist. If predictions hold true that Blue Beetle, the new summer blockbuster from the DC franchise, will knock out Barbie from the top box office slot this weekend, note this was published during the weekend. It would prove what I and others have been saying for years. Give Latino creatives the big budget chances and they will deliver. Notice this, okay? This is, again, folks, this is setting up a situation we don't want to have. Give Latino creatives the big budget chances and they will deliver. Okay, this movie didn't deliver. It's not going to deliver. And I say that as someone who thought that it would have legs. I said this with Polly on Latino Slant. I said it before the movie came out on this channel. I said, I don't think it's going to open big. I think it will have the long haul, right? I think it'll get the support. Once I saw the international numbers come in, I knew that wasn't true anymore. And we have to, right? We have to adjust and we have to just flat out tell the truth. Blue Beetle, which opened Friday, is directed by Puerto Rican Angel Manuel Solo, written by Mexican Gareth Dunnett Alcocer, and features the fabulous Cuban-Mexican Ecuadorian Jolo Maridueña of Cobra Kai fame as a bona fide, non-animated Miles Morales Latino superhero. Here's the issue, folks. This article set up this entire idea that it's all about being Latino. It sets it up that it's all about Latino audiences. Folks, a movie can't survive that way. It can't do it that way. And not only that, but it's not fair to expect a particular demographic to go support a film just because they're supposed to. It's inappropriate. Now, do I think that, this film will do well with Latinos maybe after it's out of the box office and it's in streaming? Sure, but it has to stand on its own merits. And this idea that we're making this fully, totally, 100%, 100% into an issue of identity group. Not good. Not good at all. Now, let's take a look at how things are going. This is out of Bounding into Comics. John Trent, our buddy, who, by the way, we on the Pro Show this Thursday will have a Bounding into Comics invasion. You're going to want to see it. It's coming. It's a big show. You're going to have a good time. Warner Brothers Identity Politics marketing for Blue Beetles fails. Film fares worse than projections. Okay, so here's the outcome of this. Warner Brothers bet big on identity politics in order to market director Angel Manuel Soto's Blue Beetle film, and it completely failed in the film's opening weekend, with the estimated gross performing worse than initial projections. According to the numbers, Blue Beetle brought in $25.4 million at the domestic box office. Here's the bad one, though. It did another $18 million at the international box office for a global gross of $43 million. Remember, folks, it needs $400 million to break even. It's not going to do that. It doesn't have a 10 times over. And that international number at $18 million, way below a 50-50 ratio, not good. While the film's box office numbers are exceptionally poor, it did become the highest grossing film unseating Barbie, which only brought in $21.5 million. Barbie, I believe, only had another 40% decrease. Barbie looks like it may actually unseat Super Mario Brothers as the highest grossing film of the year. This is the second worst opening weekend box office for a DC film since the DC Extended Universe launched Man of Steel. The only film Blue Beetle bests is Wonder Woman 1984, which had a day-and-date release on HBO Max, meaning it's released to theaters the same day it was available to stream on HBO Max. Wonder Woman 1984's opening weekend was $16.7 million domestically, and likely essentially eradicated Patty Jenkins' chances of heading up any more big franchise films. The Flash beat Blue Beetle. Shazam! Fury of the Gods beat Blue Beetle. This is just not good. Now, you know, we can defend it. We can say it's a decent film. It doesn't deserve this. That's fine. But we don't argue with the market, right? The market is what the market is. You can go outside and shake your fist at the weather. The weather is what the weather is. So you can say that I wish it was sunny today, or you can say that we need rain. You can say that the audiences should have shown up, but it is what it is. And I don't think that we're doing a good job based on this marketing, because having made it so focused on identity politics, so focused on ethnic and racial issues, I think has set up the scenario where Hollywood is going to blame Latinos. They're going to blame the Hispanic community and say, why did you support Super Mario to the degree that you did? Remember that Mario was the #1 movie in Mexico ever. Why did you support it? Why did you not support this? You support Italian plumbers, but you don't support Jolo? Folks, I don't think that's how this works. But let's go back now. I want you to see that they set this up. It's like a subtle threat to that community. Let's take a look at how this was played out, and notice the names of the authorship on this article. This out of the Hollywood Reporter back before the weekend began, as they were ramping up this marketing strategy. Blue Beetle, how grassroots backers are trying to boost the Latino-led superhero movie. With its stars sidelined due to the strike, a coalition of advocacy groups are finding ways to promote the DC film. This was by Aaron Couch, Rebecca Sun, and Boris Kitt. Interesting. 2 years ago, Jolo Maridueña made a surprise appearance on the red carpet of Warner Brothers' DC feature, The Suicide Squad. It was a coming-out party of sorts, as the night before at a surprise dinner thrown by DC execs, the Cobra Kai actor learned he had nabbed his biggest role yet. Now that's not probably true. Starring as the title character in the action-adventure film Blue Beetle. Feels like a fairy tale, an ecstatic Maridueña told the Hollywood Reporter at the time. Now, as Blue Beetle arrives in theaters August 18th, the actor won't be walking a red carpet. First studio movie to center on a Latino superhero, not because Maridueña doesn't want to, but because there is no premiere. Red, blue, nothing for the movie. Goes on to talk about this, but here's where we get into problems, okay? Up until that point, whatever. Blue Beetle arrives after a series of ill-fated movies featuring Latino representation. Last year, Warner Brothers Discovery unceremoniously shelved Batgirl, starring Dominican-American actress Leslie Grace, as a tax write-down. A year before the musical In the Heights failed to ignite audiences in a way Studio Warner Brothers had hoped, with accusations of colorism leveled at the studio. Hopes for the movie were high for the Latino community. The film was originally developed for HBO Max with a budget in the $70 million range before being supersized and greenlit. Greenlighted? No, greenlit. With a budget of $120 million, alongside the Eva Longoria-directed Hulu hit Flamin' Hot and A24's Problemista. Latino representation looked to be on the upswing. We were hopeful. It keeps going. Latinos, who make up 19% of the U.S. population, over-index in terms of film going, buying 29% of tickets sold in 2020, according to Motion Picture Association study it. They are underrepresented on screen. Goes on to talk about that. Still, observers worry the film, which is tracking for a 30 million opening, will not get the cultural moment afforded to projects such as Marvel's Black Panther or Shang-Chi. Multiple sources in the inclusion space expressed fear that it could lead to fewer such projects being made. And this is the subtle threat. Pay close attention to this. This was put out in The Hollywood Reporter for a reason. And it's put out by 3 authors who are not from this community, but there's a subtle threat to the community. Listen to this. If the project doesn't do well, a year from now, it's not going to be like, it was because of the strike. It's going to be, no, it just didn't do well, and it's because it was BIPOC. And so we tried that, right? That's the acronym now for anybody of color, essentially. Michelle Sugihara, again, not someone of this particular community, executive director of the Coalition of Asian Pacifics at Entertainment, says of BIPOC-led projects released during the strikes. That's the subtle threat. That's the subtle threat. Listen to this other one. Ana Cristina Ramon, who sits on the Latino Film Institute board. Here's the quote. No one film should have to shoulder all the responsibility for Latinx. By the way, when you hear that, be on the watch, right? Because Latinx is an anglicized invasion of the Spanish language. The idea that you could possibly ever change the gender of a noun using a consonant is grammatically grotesque in Spanish. It only comes from people who don't understand the language and are trying to change it to their own whims without regard to the culture. No one film should have to shoulder all the responsibility for Latinx representation in Hollywood, but its success can be the undeniable example that investment in Latino creatives, I'm not saying anymore, Latino creatives pays off. What is the message here, folks, and what's going to be the message now? Well, Latinos didn't show up. Hispanics didn't show up, right? And the community is going to be blamed. They're being blamed. There's a tweet out there going around. I don't know if you guys have seen this, and I don't know about the necessarily the authenticity of it, but it's trending, right? And so I'll show this to you. Take a look at this. I don't think this is actually legit, maybe, but if Blue Beetle flops, Latino community might see less representation in Hollywood. Via Hollywood Reporter. I think it's referencing this article. But this is trending everywhere. Online, people are sharing it. I think this is a bad place to be. I don't agree with it. I don't like it. I don't like the idea of putting a movie's success or failure onto a particular demographic. It's as stupid as saying whether or not Rocky, the first film, succeeded would come down to Italian consumers of movies. I don't like this at all, because films have to reach out to all of us to succeed. Black Panther could not succeed simply on the Black or African-American community's support. Black Panther succeeded because all people seemed to want to go see it as a whole, as a percentage. It inspired sons and fathers to go watch it together. It had that patriarchal kind of sentiment of proper masculinity, not inappropriate patriarchy or inappropriate masculinity. And Blue Beetle is fine, so it's going to do just fine. But if we're looking for a cultural moment here, no. But that doesn't mean that Hollywood should blame Latinos, and it doesn't mean that these arguments from the beginning were anything less than straw man arguments. This subtle threat that was developed to try to convince, with a bit of arm twisting or more, convince entire communities that they had to go see a superhero film for a superhero they really probably had never heard of, it didn't work. It needs to stop. We all need to be kind to one another, and we need to recognize that empathy and crossing across those lines, those divisions that supposedly divide us, that is the way forward for a better entertainment and a better Hollywood. Maybe in the midst of this strike, it's time for small content creators to get out there and make fantastic new stuff that features authentic diversity and authentic crossing of lines and empathy and humanity. Boy, wouldn't that be great. I would love it. Let's all get together and let's all embrace our shared humanity together, if I can get that out. Well, folks, one thing you might be able to get out is clicking that like button, share, subscribe, and when you click it, you stick it to the algorithms, it's the notification bell. My monologue here has come to a close. Now the commentary begins. Could you drop a comment down below? Let me know what you think. Did I get it right? Did I get it wrong? Do you see the same thing that I see, that there was this subtle, what would you say? This subtle push, this subtle narrative that if you don't support it, we won't support you. Did you see that as well? Did you see it the same that I did? Or maybe you just think Pro is going too far over the line. Let me know. I care about your feedback. I'll read it, and I'll respond to some of them. Folks, don't forget that this Pro show coming Thursday is not the only live stream we're doing, which is really rare. But Tuesday, that's tomorrow, if you're watching this video at the time of release, Tuesday, 5 p.m. Eastern Time, we're going to do a special live stream here on the channel where we celebrate our friends' major milestones that they have reached. We are so proud of them, so excited. We're also going to be revealing That Park Place, the YouTube channel, is coming soon, and we're giving major new details about it. We are excited to revolutionize the entertainment journalism business here on YouTube, and we plan to do just that. Now, speaking of the Pro Show, don't forget that we have Bounding into Comics, multiple writers, including John Trent, who you saw him on one of these articles we read today. It's a Bounding into Comics invasion of the Pro Show. And we have major exclusives as well that we will be releasing this week, including information about Disney's DEI program going forward. And we will be bringing forth a, shall we say, major scoop from a major source that involves the writer strike, what is going on. And if you are involved in the industry at all, you probably want to see that, because we're going to reveal some things you don't know that definitely have an impact on your career going forward. So all of that coming right here on the channel. Folks, we appreciate you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for sticking with us. You're the electricity that drives it all. Wherever you are and whatever you're doing, no matter what your background, no matter your community, and no matter which movies you like, don't like, support, and anything else, keep learning, keep growing, and keep having fun.
Make sure to catch the Pro Show Thursdays 5 to 7 Eastern Time. Entertainment Explained, The Culture Curve Conquered, live with Pro and all his friends.